Welcome back and thank you very much for joining me. My name is Swadik Mayanja, and on this channel I bring you news, current events, fun topics, and research for nurses everywhere. Full line of stories today. I think this is going to be probably the longest nursing news session today, but I will try to be efficient in each of these stories. But there's so much that happened this week in nursing news, and I gotta jump all into all of them. We gotta get to all of them. So let's get this party started.
You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
So starting off the day with a public service announcement. If you have recently bought a kitty smoke alarm, return it. Return it or go to the Consumer Product Safety Commission website, which I'll put in the description box below, and figure out if you do need to return it because there was a manufacturing defect. Right? Do you want to know what that manufacturing defect was? It doesn't sense any smoke. I don't call that a defect. I call that useless. Absolutely useless. So please be safe. Keep your family safe. Keep your pets safe. Keep everyone in your household safe. Right? If you have a kitty fire alarm, please check it out. To give you the specific model numbers, it's models PI2010 and models PI9010. But like I said, just go to the website down below, click it, see if yours is one of them, and then return it if necessary. That's out of the way to get that. I just had to let y'all know. Fires are scary situations. So I love Modern Family. Great TV show, right? But one of the actresses in Modern Family, Sarah Hyland, she's had quite a few medical issues in her past. I know recently she made it public that she's had a kidney transplant in the past. She has some chronic illness that made her get a kidney transplant, right? But on top of that, now there's another issue. I don't know exactly what it is. She did not tell us what it is, but she's in chronic pain, chronic pain, and it's been a long-standing issue. But she's frustrated with her doctors because they're not listening to her and taking that advice. So let me give you exactly what she tweeted out. She said, for those who are chronically ill and in chronic pain, have you had the experience where your doctors are not listening to you? If so, how do you not tear their heads off with your bare hands? I can understand this. I can really understand this. For you nurses out there, for us nurses, we know when you go into work, we have those patients that need to get some pain medications, that need to get some kind of treatment for their pain. Whatever the medication is, if it's morphine, if it's Dilaudid, if it's whatever you're giving at Q6, Q4, Q2, you know there's some patients that are in excruciating pain all day, every day, and you have to do that for them, right? With this humongous opioid crisis going on, I know, I don't want to even say doctors, I want to just say healthcare providers in general are just walking on eggshells trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. But understand something. Of course, the opioid crisis is crazy. It's scary. It's the worst thing ever. We don't want that for anyone. But pain is pain is pain is pain. Right? If someone says they're in pain, they're in pain. If someone's in pain, they can't concentrate on anything else. If they can't concentrate on anything else, there goes their health. They're not going to give a shit about eating healthy. They're not going to give a shit about doing the treatments that they have to get done. They're not going to care about anything else but the pain that's taking over their body. So pain is pain is pain. We got to figure out a way to help her subside this pain. We don't know the details. That's all she gave us. We don't know the details, so I'm not putting any blame on anyone. I'm just saying this story allows us to expand and talk about pain and how we treat that in the time of this opioid crisis. It's hard. It's difficult. I'm not even going to pretend for 1 second that I know what the intricacies in choosing what kind of pain med to give a patient. That is the doctor's, the advanced practitioner's decision. You guys take care of that. But I do know as a nurse, if I'm Sarah's nurse, I am paging you every 5 minutes on the minute to make sure you know that she's in pain. If I'm her nurse, I am going to make sure that you know as often as she wants me to let you know that she's in pain. It's difficult. It's hard. All right. So moving from there to talking about someone that might feel a whole lot of pain but won't affect him too much. The Deadpool trailer came out. the second trailer came out. I didn't make a video for the first trailer because I was a little nervous. Yes, it was kind of funny with the whole CGI hand for whatever the metal guy's hand. I was a little nervous. I was like, holy shit, I love Deadpool. But the thing about Deadpool that was so different, if they're going to do it again, it's not going to be different anymore. Is it still going to be good? And I tried to think back to Deadpool, and I was like, holy shit, outside of the breaking of the fourth wall, what did I enjoy? I enjoyed the kick-ass, bloody, gory action, right? There was this entire segment of the movie, like I think it was like a 3 minutes straight of him like devouring, killing people, even like the beginning open scene with all of the insane action that you never see in real action superhero movies. I loved that about Deadpool. And this second trailer had all of the action in it, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. Breaking the fourth wall is amazing. Now we know it's going to happen. It's not going to be a surprise. It's not going to be new. But everything else in that movie worked. Everything else in that movie worked. So, I saw a lot of the things that I liked in that movie. I know that the fourth wall thing is his shit, but because it's not different, I'm not too excited about it. I'm still excited about Deadpool 2 though, because that trailer, that second trailer, won me over. I was nervous, but you guys won. Moving forward, back to being a nurse. I'm sorry, you know I love my superhero movies. I had to have it in there. Back to being a nurse, the importance of nursing here. So, everyone knows I love my nursing career. I love being a nurse. And being a nurse is one of them professions where if you say it, you just get a little bit of, I don't want to say respect, but it's one of the professions in the world that if you do, you just do get a little more respect because it's a profession where you have to give a whole lot of yourself for. Right? But there's a lawmaker, a state representative in North Carolina that has been putting on her campaign website, that has been putting on her social media that she's a nurse, when in fact she was never a nurse. All right? So in North Carolina, the Board of Nursing this week called out Republican state lawmaker who has been misidentifying herself as a nurse online. Her Representative Beverly Boswell was identifying herself as a registered nurse on her campaign websites and social media pages until Board of Nursing told her to stop. Do you know why they told her to stop? Because she's never been a nurse. She's not a nurse. She's never been a nurse in North Carolina, and she's never been a nurse anywhere else, so she can't put that on her thing. And it is state regulated. Right? It is state regulated. How did she not think it was going to get out? But she says that she's not the one who did it. She said that Boswell is a medical assistant and a phlebotomist who is trained to draw some blood, which are very important healthcare jobs. These are things that we need. You have to understand something, right? Yes, being a nurse is important, but I can't be a nurse if I also... There is no nursing without a phlebotomist and without a medical assistant, without a nursing assistant, without a nurse's aide. Whatever, I think they all, a lot of the times, do many of the similar jobs. Me being a nurse without nursing assistants, medical assistants, is literally impossible. It is literally impossible. I would not be able to get patient care done for one human being and do all the meds and do all the nursing care and the work of a nursing assistant without the help of a nursing assistant, without the help of a phlebotomist. My day would be hell. So these professions are important. I do understand that there's, in the public eye, saying a nurse is much more appealing for someone to say if you want to get some votes than saying I'm a phlebotomist. People might have to look that up. Or a medical assistant. People are like, I'm not sure what you do. But you got to be honest. You got to be honest. What she says is, she says, Representative Boswell said, the mistake came from a campaign volunteer who misunderstood her job description. She continued by saying, anytime you put on a uniform and go into the doctor's office, people assume that you're a nurse or a doctor, and you have to correct them. And this I agree with entirely, especially me being a male nurse. A lot of people will look at me and say, hi, can you please get me the nurse? And I'm like, oh, surprise, that's me. So I get it. I understand. But I don't believe it, because how bad can the miscommunication be? Are you my nurse? No, I'm not. Are you a nurse? No, I'm not. That is really simple communication. This is one of them things. I'm not stressing over this because it's the end of the world, right? She had it on her paper. She had it on her resume. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. The only reason I'm bringing this up and I'm talking about it quite a bit is because what the legislation she has filed for and she has voted for in the past. I don't want to speak for the majority of nurses, but I will say that these are probably on the opposite end of the majority of nurses, right? Of the majority. Not all, but the majority of nurses. So, in the past, she has filed to allow chiropractors to conduct physical exams. Now, this is silly. Right? I understand chiropractic for many people, they live and die by it. But for the general public, they have to understand that chiropractors do not have the same education far and away as a physical therapist, as a doctor, as a NP, as a PA. None of those things. None. Their education is very different and not as medically sound, if I could say, as those other advanced practitioners. I will not be able to give someone a physical exam, right? I can do my nursing exam and my nursing assessment, but that's not a physical exam that, someone goes home with after I look at them and say, this is the things you need to do better with your health. No. Physical exams, I think, is a bad look because chiropractors are the same people at large, not all of them, but at large, that are saying things like, don't get your immunizations because I can cut if you come in here and we do some oil treatments and some aroma treatments, you won't need any. Please, go get your goddamn physical exams. This is absolutely crazy. This is the reason it bothers me that she's saying she's a nurse, because she's voting on things that nurses would never vote on, right? The majority of nurses would say absolutely not. And then this one is a little on the iffy end. She also filed a bill that would allow, that would establish that life begins at conception. So no abortions, even if it's the day after conception. Nope. So that, I don't know, I think most nurses... I know a lot of nurses who don't want to be a part of an abortion. They don't think it's right, but they do believe anyone should have the choice to have it done if they feel like it's necessary. So that's the reason I'm bringing this up, and that's the reason I'm a little angst with her. And now I'm super excited for the end of April because us nurses we're going to take over Washington, D.C. And please, I am begging you, join me in Washington, D.C. What's going to happen in Washington, D.C. is nurses are taking over D.C. There's going to be a rally from April 25th through the 27th. And on the 26th is when the actual huge rally is going to be happening. We're going to march on to Washington, D.C., fighting for safe staffing. Something that nurses have been fighting for nearly forever, right? For forever. Since I thought about being a nurse, the number one thing I've been told was, you'll definitely find a job because we're short on staffing. And since that day to today, every single day, there's something out there, someone is screaming at the top of their lungs, we need safe staffing. There's nurses going on strike, we need safe staffing. There's nurses, nurse unions fighting and yelling, we need safe staffing. So on this April 2018, 25th through the 27th, come down to Washington, D.C. and join us for the fight. Make sure we come in huge numbers so at least they can see us and hear us and understand that this is something. If nurses have safe staffing, that means patient gets better care. If patient gets better care, that's a better world that we live in. Can we please fight for that? Please, and thank you. Links are going to be in the description below, but let me just give you some background before I run away from this. So the grassroots movement is sponsored by Show Me Your Stethoscope, a 3-year-old social media nursing organization with more than 600,000 members. Their mission is not only to raise awareness, but also to ignite the voices of the country's 4 million RNs and licensed practical nurses around the goal of passing federal legislation to require nurse staffing levels that are sufficient for safe patient care. Such legislation would be supported by 20 years of research. Yes, 20 years of research fighting not fighting. This is just the research that backs up the case that safe staffing is important. On April 25th through the 27th, 2019, nurses from across the country will gather in Washington, D.C. with a Capitol Hill rally on April 26th. And then, like I said, the information will be at the link in the description. So click it, sign up, book your flight, book your hotel, come down, get your Airbnb, join the fight, get your pickets out, and let's make some noise. Let's get the safe staffing that we want so we can make this country better and improve health for everyone that is a part of it, right? So moving on, nurses of the week, and yes, nurses, not just one nurse. This is a group of nurses and a group of student nurses. They are nurses. They're in school to be midwives, but these nurses have done something that I thought was super self-aware and thoughtful of them. Right? It's super. Let's get to it. Let me tell you what happened. So we all know at the end of our nursing programs, when you graduate, it's the greatest day ever. And most of the time, most schools, and I'm pretty sure it's all nursing programs that I've at least witnessed, to talk to people that's been to, you have to give back. You have to. A lot of the nurses give back a gift to the nursing program, nursing to the school, right? And these nurses at the University of Pennsylvania decided to give back a scholarship. And this scholarship was specifically focused for midwives, nurses that want to become midwives, but they were nurses of color. I think this is super important. So let me just give you a little bit of background. So University of Pennsylvania Nurse Midwife Program, they created a scholarship for midwives of color. So the nursing graduate Catherine Nunes, who is one of the very few nurses of color in the graduating class that is giving this gift, said the point of the scholarship is to address the fact that over 95% of midwives in the U.S. are white, whereas the people they care for, the majority are people of color, poor people, and immigrants, LGBTQ members. But it is important for nurses who want to become midwives, for all nurses who want to become midwives, to at least have the opportunity. Because number one, we know that school in general is super, super expensive. Becoming a midwife is a graduate program, graduate program. So it's even more expensive. Yes, you might be able to work as a nurse, but these programs are super difficult, very, very difficult. So working full-time or making enough money, especially if you've been a nurse for a little bit and you have a family and things that you have responsibilities, paying for school is impossible. So I love what they're doing, okay? But with all that being said, let me give you a little bit of background on what midwives used to be before it was a very restricted and controlled profession. It used to just be, let me tell you. So this was originally a common practice among black and immigrant populations, but a stigma around home births discouraged people from communities of color from going into the field. As the natural birth movement gained popularity in recent decades, it's created a racial imbalance in the profession that still exists today. So what I was trying to say is that yes, black and brown people used to do this all the time. Being a midwife was just something that they used to do, and it was less restricted. But then they also, on top of the fact that it was less restricted, and I'm happy that it's more restricted, being a midwife is very serious. No, you're not only just taking care of one person, you're taking care of two lives at that moment. And in that moment of time, when things go bad, things can go really bad really quickly. So I am happy about the restrictions and the focus and the education needed to become a midwife. That I'm all for. But the bias that happened after, the stigma that was put on having black and brown people come to your house and do these live births, home births, discourage a lot of people of color going into the profession. Now that being home births and all of that stuff has resurged and it's popular now, there's a huge increase in people who want midwives, but people of color that want to go back into that profession can't, because the price just to start the education process is astronomically high. So I love this. I think, yes, you guys deserve it. University of Pennsylvania, congratulations, number one, on graduating through that program. Love nurse midwives. You guys do awesome work. L&D is my goddamn goal. I say that every single week. And then number two, great gift. We gave my graduating year, we gave a gift. We gave an extra vagina. It was just a fake vagina for, catheters and stuff. This is much more thoughtful than a vagina. Okay. Let's get into the list. I have two lists for you today. I'm starting with the first, is the top 5 schools in Massachusetts. Nursing programs in Massachusetts. And I really want to do this because I think it's important, right? And even before I start with this list, the school I went to, it was a junior college, Mass Bay Community College. I absolutely loved my time there. I thought my professors were amazing. I passed the boards on my first attempt. So with that all being said, right, when you're a nurse, when you get into a nursing program, no matter what school you go to, you all have to pass the same boards to graduate. But more importantly than that, after you pass the boards, right? I don't know if you could get bypassing the NCLEX just by memorizing things. Critical thinking is just the core of nursing, and that test is that hard because of the critical thinking that's needed. But even past that, being a nurse today, I do feel sufficient. I do feel like I am just as good as my colleagues that I work with. I'm saying all of this just to let you guys know, yes, it is important to get the top school. Yes, that can be important to get the top school if that's what you want. If you want the best of the best and you're willing to pay for the best of the best, go do you please, right? The better these programs are, the better the nurses we get, and I am all for it. I am all for it. But it's not just about the list, where your school ends up on the list, right? Am I saying this because I'm a little bitter? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I could do it again, if I had all the money in the world, knowing where I'm at today, I would do it the exact same way because of the price that I had to pay for school, which was zero compared to this. Let me get into it. Sorry for making you wait, but I had to say my piece, all right? University of Massachusetts Lowell's at number 5. And this is, like I said, top 5 schools, top 5 nursing programs in Massachusetts, all of Massachusetts. If you're not in Massachusetts, I'm sorry, but if you're not in Massachusetts, come on into Massachusetts, because Massachusetts has the goddamn best nursing programs ever. So, University of Massachusetts Lowell, I'm going to tell you the price and the acceptance of admission rate. And then I'll just a little bit by why it's on the list. So, University of Massachusetts Lowell, tuition is $29,900. The admission rate, 60%, which is decent. I think it's pretty much average. And the reason it's at number 5 is because of all the options they have, especially with the master's program. You get your master's in family health nursing, master's in adult gerontology nursing, and then there's multiple ways for you to get your bachelor's in nursing as well. So you can do the fast track, you could just do day program, half online. There's a lot of options. So options on both the nursing BSN program and options for your master's program. That's why it's number 5 on the list. And it's just average priced with an average admission rate. Okay. Moving to University of Massachusetts Amherst, which is number 4. That in-state tuition is $30,000, very slightly more than UMass Lowell. And then its admission rate is also at 60%, same as UMass Lowell. And the reason this is at number 4 is because they have one of the best programs for nursing in general in the country, not just Massachusetts, in the country. Not as many options, but the prestige of the program is just top notch. They won't have too many opportunities for specialization, but there's also an accelerated program. So that's one of the very few options that you do have. There's an accelerated BSN program. That's number 4. Number 3, UMass Boston. And I like UMass Boston. I'm very price oriented, if you can't tell, but that's just me. That's just me specific. UMass Boston. Tuition, $13,800. $13,800. That's at least $10,000 less than both UMass Lowell and UMass Amherst. And the admission rate is at 69%. So lower cost, higher admission, right? So that's why it's at number 3. But understand something. Nursing school is nursing school is nursing school. Yes, the admission rate might be higher. I don't know how many of those people admitted would finish. All I'm saying is it's difficult. If you get through the program and you pass the NCLEX, that's what matters. Getting in is important. You got to start. Majority of the struggle is just getting there, but you do need to finish. But that's why it's at number 3. Number 2, Simmons College. This is where the tuition starts jumping through the goddamn roof. Simmons College has $57,685 tuition. Yearly school admissions at 64%. Actually a little higher than some of the state schools. Tuition is astronomically higher than some of the state schools. $57,000 a year is a whole lot of money. But the reason that this Simmons College is at number 2 is because they have an undergraduate program, a BS-MS program. You can either do the 4 years and get your BSN, or you can do the 5 years and graduate with a master's in nursing. And I think this is huge. Everyone and their mother has been saying since the day I started nursing school, think about getting your master's, think about becoming an NP, think about becoming an advanced practice nurse, because that's where just the world is moving. The better education you have, the more autonomy you have, the better nurse you'll be, right? And this is all right and correct. I don't know how fast they're moving into the master's degree side of things. I still think they're trying to get the majority of nurses to get their bachelor's degree. But it is important. And if you are a nurse and you want to be a nurse for forever, and you don't think you want to be doing bedside nursing forever, getting a master's degree is super important. And if you do it now, do it soon, especially when you're already in school and you don't forget things and you know you're ready in that groove. Get it done, get it done, get it done. I think many more schools are going to be doing this BS-MS program situation. And then the top notch, number one, the big guns. The best nursing school in Massachusetts, which is probably top 3, if not top. I mean, if it's not top 3, it's definitely top 5 in the nation. But it's number 1 in Massachusetts. Is Boston College. Tuition though, When I saw this number, I said, "God damn, it better be the best school." $70,000, $500 a year for tuition. Admission rate is 31%. They just have a phenomenal program. Right, nursing program, very prestigious, and then on top of that, I think it's one of the very few schools in the country, yes, in the country, that has a really good CRNA program. So Boston College is that top dog, number 1. But just to reiterate, if your school is not on this list, and this is also by nurses.org, but nurse.org. I'm going to put the link so you can see the top 10, not just the top 5. But if your school is not on that list, and if you're in Massachusetts, if you're a nurse and you're successful at nursing and you're doing it right, congratulations. If you're a future nurse, understand, it's not about the list, the school on the list. It's about the person you are and what school would bring out the best of your education, right? That is what the question is. That's what the question is. Yes, picking a school on this list is helpful because you know they're reputable, they're known, and they do really good things. That's nice, but you do want to do your own research. And if you're thinking about doing nursing, I don't think I need to tell you that, because you're on your way to the best profession in the goddamn world. My second list of the day. This is very practical, right? That was like big, huge picture, spending millions of dollars trying to figure out your situation in life, especially if you're going to Boston College. But this is some real practical advice. And this is 5 tips to deal with bad smells as a nurse. And I think this is amazing. This is amazing information. You need to know this information because it's going to help you. It's going to help you in many, many ways. Through and through. If you're a nurse, I don't care when, how, or where, you are going to need some of this information. So let's bang through this. So number 1, make sure you know your patient. Research your patient. Understand if your patient has been vomiting, has been diarrhea, all of these things. You don't want to walk into the room with all nice with snacks in your pocket, chewing some gum, feeling real good, and then the smell hits you right in the face. Right? Because they were testing him for C. diff. They don't have the results yet, but you go in there with no precautions on. You don't know if the patient's been puking all over the smell of puke just hurts my nostrils like never before. So research your patient. Make sure you know what you're walking into, so you don't walk into just D-Day of smells, right? Keep the patient and the patient's room clean. This is super understated, but it's important. Just even you yourself. If you go a couple of days just slumping around in the house, rolling in your own dirt, watching Netflix and eating junk food, you're going to smell bad. You're going to have some BO around you, right? And the room's going to get some trash. And then things are going to litter and things are going to start smelling. So make sure the room and the patient is clean. I think that's just obvious things, but people look past it because there's so many things that need to be done. Take care of what needs to be taken care of so you make your life easier moving forward. So there's a huge list of tips. Number 3 is tips on the physically not smelling the smells, right? So I'm going to go through some of these things. And so follow these tips to decrease some odors. Put some coffee grounds in the patient's room. Coffee grounds are powerful and absorb many sources of smell. I agree with this, I guess. I do think coffee is a strong smelling scent. If you like coffee, if your patient doesn't mind the smell of coffee, great. If not, I don't think it's a good idea. Wear 2 masks, overpowers the bad smell. Makes sense. I remember in nursing school having a conversation in class like, is it disrespectful if you wear a mask? If the patient's not on precautions, but you wear a mask, if you're changing a patient. It's not disrespectful. Yes, it's a human thing that everyone moves their bowels. But if I'm a patient and someone wears a mask because they don't want to smell, that's respect. It's embarrassing. It's awkward, yes, but it's not disrespectful. I am going to take this to the death of me. I want to do the best job I want to do, but if I'm a little more comfortable cleaning you up, if I have a mask on, that should be fine. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, because we had a huge discussion about this in nursing school, and I do think it's a really important topic, and maybe further I'll make a longer video about it. But wear 2 masks, carry a travel size container of vapor rub and apply it under the nose. I did this as a kid. I used to put vapor rub as a kid under my nose when I had sinuses. It goddamn works. All you can smell is that vapor rub for like weeks. That's why I put very little. Go easy. Put more if you need it, but go easy in the beginning. Wear mint flavored chapstick, useful. Chew strong mint flavored gum, useful. Put a dab of toothpaste between the 2 masks. I never knew this. I think it's amazing advice. I have to try it. I have to try it. It sounds legit, because I feel like the vapor rub, and I don't like having things in my mouth when I'm changing. I feel like I'm tasting it. So the Vicks is too strong for me. I don't want to be eating anything with those bad smells around me. So the toothpaste for me is legit. Listerine strips, that's super strong. I don't like the Listerine strips, what it does to my upper gums. And then cough drops. Like I said, I don't like things in my mouth. But if you guys are okay with it and it lets the smell go away, those are the tips. So that was all number 3. Number 4, breathe through your mouth. I do this often. I try to breathe through my mouth. It's useful, but then sometimes you forget, and it's just uncomfortable because it's not my normal way. So it can get difficult, but if you do breathe through your mouth, you just smell less. It's just obvious. And then this one, I love that they added, and I think kudos for them for adding it. Think empathetic thoughts. Like I was talking about the wearing a mask in the patient's room when there's no precautions needed. Yes, you are empathetical. You have some empathy for the patient situation. Like I said, it's super awkward. Imagine you doing your own thing all day, and tomorrow, due to some accident or illness, someone has to clean you up, right? Someone has to take you to the bathroom. Someone has to clean up your vomit. It has to be one of the most awkward, embarrassing, just uncomfortable situations ever, right? So be as empathetical as possible. Don't go in there and say, ew, what in the world? This is gross. I don't see any nurses doing that, but I feel like I have to, because like you just have to. Like I always feel horrendous for these patients, especially it sucks. It sucks for both people, right? You don't want to be cleaning this up, and of course, yes, you don't want to be cleaning this up, but imagine what the patient feels like. Just imagine. I love that one. All right, long session today. Thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate it. Like I said, comment in the comment section below. That is what more than anything else, more than the views, more than the likes, more than the sharing, I just want the comments, because I love talking to other nurses. I love talking to other healthcare providers, and I love talking to people outside of nursing that have different perspectives on the things I care about and the way, my point of view. So please talk to me. That's what I ask for the most. And then on top of that, like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for sticking through the entire long show. Let me know if this is too long enough, if you like the multitude of stories I had today. If you didn't like any of them, anything you have to say, please say it in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys later. Deuces.